Howdy, partner. Get off your horse, pull up a chair, have a slug of bourbon, a chew of tobacco, and settle down for a yarn from the Old West. In a little town, we'll call it Laredo, but that's not its name. There was an old standoff between the townspeople and the cattlemen. You see, the cattlemen were used to driving the herds through the street, coming into town with guns a-blazing, being a danger to law-abiding folks. Well, folks was fed up with it, and they got together and decided to barricade the street at each end. And they got the marshal to ask the cowboys to leave their guns on the edge of town. But the shopkeepers and saloon keepers and the rope and saddle makers, they wouldn't agree, because they reckoned that put them out of business. So they called in one of the famousest gunfighters in the West, a real tough guy. He come along and he told them people not to close their street off to the cowboys, or they'd have him to deal with. When the marshal tried to get in to have a say, Guy the gunfighter had his henchmen keep him out. So the standoff went on, but the townspeople wouldn't give in so easily. They talked about pulling in mercenaries to take the cowboys' guns off of them, and they looked at other ways of stopping the cattle come through. And some of them stood up at a meeting and asked who the hell this Guy feller was to tell them how to run their town. Well, I don't have to tell you what happened when the gunfighter got to hear about this. Which brings us up to the present day in this little town, because now they know that Guy is a-coming for 'em. And the marshal is getting ready. He's a-hoping them townsfolk is going to stand by him, I can tell you. But I also heard another little town, Hadleyville it was, where their marshal, Will Kane, was in much the same spot. Frank Miller was on his way back there when he'd done his time in prison, put there by Kane, and he was out for revenge. He was on the train due to get into Hadleyville at 12 noon, and Kane needed them townspeople to back him up. One by one, they all turned away to save their own skins, and when high noon came, he was all alone. They made one of them newfangled moving pictures about what happened in Hadleyville. Now in Laredo, that's what we're going to call it, they're going to see what will happen when Guy the gunfighter gets there on Monday, the 11th of March, 7 o'clock of the evening at the OK Corral at the Burton End Primary School. There's some that'll be hoping we'll all have to beat the drum slowly and play the fife lowly when the showdown is over. And then the cattle be drove through again, and the guns will be a-firing, and them law-abiding folks what was complaining will be staying home, so they say. But if they can gun down the tough Guy, the marshal, if he's still standing at the end of it, well, I guess he may not ride off into the sunset after all. A lawman's got to do what a lawman's got to do, so he could get on and do it. So long.
As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo,